Hi guys, welcome back. Today we're going to visit with a YouTuber named Rita Walker, and the name of her story is Heart to Heart When My Mom Passed Away.
Hope everything is fine, everything is going well. If not, I hope things get better. Today's video is about a heart to heart when my mom passed away and how it made me feel. So this video is sad, but I thought I would share it with you guys. My mom had been sick for a very long time. She was back and forth in the hospital. Me and my mom was very close. I'm the middle child, very spoiled. She gave me any and everything I wanted. My mom was my everything. She was like my mom, my best friend, all in one. I could talk to her about anything and tell her anything, even if she couldn't do nothing about it. Just the fact that I could sit down and talk to her and tell her anything, it just made my day and made me feel better. If I needed guidance and help about anything, she was there. My mom had congested heart failure, so she had a bad heart. So she would have problems with that, and she was also a type 2 diabetic. And I did home health care for her. I worked from home. My mom was my patient, so that was a that was a nice job for me to have, to work at home. I work at home now. I'm self-employed now. I do daycare. So when my mom got really sick, I did home health care for her, and she was like, you do home health care for me. You know you can get paid for that. I'm like, I don't want to get paid for that. I don't want to do that. You're my mom. I'm going to always take care of you. I'm not going to let you go into a nursing home when I can just take care of you myself. I wouldn't do you like that. I wouldn't dare do you like that.
She loves her mom. She said that she's in daycare now, so she's taking care of other people's children. If there's anybody that you probably want taking care of your kids, it's somebody that had a wonderful relationship with their mom. And I don't know if you can tell, but even when she talks, she just seems like a real pleasant person. And she probably got that same personality from her mama.
I helped with the bills. We split the bills together. Me and my mom stayed together because I was taking care of her, and I didn't want to move out no way. She let me be there anyway. I was a mama's girl, like people are a mama's boy. I was a mama's girl. I was real close to my mom. So I started working out at the gym like 6 years straight. I guess you can call me a gym rat because I stayed in the gym. A gym rat is a person that stays in the gym working out, not nothing else sexual. But anyway, I was a gym rat. I stayed working out, and I would get up early in the morning, prepare her food, get her ready, and then get myself ready and head out to the gym. And I would always prepare her meals or whatever. But one day I went to the gym, and my sister was living in Ohio, and me and my mom got together and scraped up the money and sent my sister a ticket to come back to Chicago because she was going through some situation herself. But anyway, long story short, when my sister got there, she was like there for 2 months, and my mom was already sick, but it wasn't that bad, but she was feeling ill. I had caught a cold. I had the flu, and I ended up giving it to my mom. Now, mind you, she was already sick. I ended up giving my mom my cold, and I noticed when you're diabetic, when you have heart problems, and you have high blood pressure, it's hard for you to shake a cold when you're diabetic or any type of sickness you have.
So if you have a family member that's affected by type 2 diabetes, has high blood pressure, starts to have health problems, a lot of times you'll hear that, once things start going bad, they kind of snowball and become worse and worse. If you have family members or even if you yourself have had any health issues because of diabetes, let us know down in the comments.
And for like 3 weeks to 2 weeks straight, my mom couldn't get rid of this cough for some reason. She just kept coughing, kept coughing, kept coughing. Now, mind you, I left and went to the gym. Sorry. So when I got to the gym, my sister had called me. She was like, I called the ambulance for mom because she would start coughing. She can't get rid of the cough, so I called the ambulance for her. And I went to go see my mom in the hospital. And when I went to go see her, they had a tube down her throat. They said her lungs were really wet, which meaning she had walking pneumonia. They had to sedate her to keep her sleeping under heavy meds because when she found out she had a tube down her throat, she kept snatching it out of her mouth. Then she was having urinary tract infections. Her heart was messing up on her. Her blood pressure was high. She had walking pneumonia. Long story whole, my mom was in the hospital for a whole entire year.
So I don't know if you caught that earlier part, but her and her mom save a little bit of money, scrape together money, as she said. They reach out to her sister who's having some issues and they say, "Hey, we got enough money to get you a ticket. Why don't you come out and stay with us?" Right? Family takes care of family. Real beautiful if you think about it. She ends up going full day, right, to go work at the gym. And thank goodness her sister was there because her mom obviously was very, very sick. Now, fast forward a little ways, she was so sick, in fact, that she ends up staying at the hospital for a year. This sounds like an absolute nightmare. If you're super duper close to either your mom or dad and you saw them have this same sort of downfall with their health, please share.
And I would go see her every other day. And sometimes I would skip days because I didn't want the people to know when I was coming. So I would skip days just to make sure they was doing what they was supposed to do with my mom. Because I was never the type to not see my mom. I went to go see my mom. She was still up under heavy meds. I want to say 5 or 6 months later, they moved her to another part of the hospital where she wasn't in the emergency part. She was starting to progress. So they moved her from the intensive care unit up to a regular hospital room. She was doing well for like 2 weeks, and then they see that she wasn't breathing on her own, so she had a setback and got sick again. And they called me and asked me, could they have permission to do surgery to open up her throat to stick a breathing tube down there. So I was like, yeah, y'all can go ahead and do that. And I had to sign some papers just in case they had to resuscitate my mom. So in case anything happened. See, I knew my mom had a bad heart, but I didn't know to what extreme that she had a bad heart. I didn't know. They put a breathing tube down her throat, so she was on a breathing machine. After she got out of that hospital, she ended up going to another hospital that specialized in breathing.
It sounds like what she said earlier is because her mom had this pre-existing situation with her type 2 diabetes, right? And her bad heart. She gets a common cold, only lasted her a week and a half or so. That ends up getting her mom sick for a whole year or so. That is crazy.
It was all the way up north, way, way up north. So I didn't mind no matter how far she went, I still went to go see my mom. My mom said to me, she was like, how long had I been away from home? And cause she didn't remember. I said, Mom, how long you think you've been away from home? I was just asking her question. She was like, Oh, no more than 2 weeks. I said, no, Mom, you've been away from home. At that time, it was like 10 months. I said, you've been away from home like 10 months. You've been away from home almost a year. So my birthday had rolled around. She missed my birthday. I said, how old did I turn? And at the time, I had turned 27 or 28. I can't quite remember. But she remembered my birthday. She still had all her memories. She could remember everything. She just didn't know that she was under heavy meds that so long that she had missed a year away from home.
So right there is probably the saddest part of the story. This happened when Rita was in her 20s. Now, I don't know how old Rita is. I didn't watch a bunch of Rita's videos, but she looks like somebody that's probably into her 30s, maybe even her 40s, right? And for her to lose her mom in her 20s, that is so unfortunate. If you're in this situation, go get your shoes.
And she was like, wow, I've been gone that long. I said, yeah, you have been gone just that long, almost a year. And then she was like, okay, so they put on she was at the hospital where they specialize in breathing. And she was there, she was doing good. Then she had another setback. Her heart, she was having heart problems. So they was like, your mom is really sick. They was telling me without telling me that she might pass, but at that time, by her getting well and getting better and getting sick and then getting better, then getting sick and then getting better, I thought she was going to pull through and everything would have been fine. So when she went back to the hospital for the last time, I went to go see her. She wasn't having a regular bowel movement, so they had to put a tube in her stomach to release the toxins that was in her stomach because she couldn't go to the bathroom. 3 weeks again straight, she was doing fine. Then next thing you know, she relapsed and got sick again. So they took her back to the hospital up north. And I went to go see her. She wasn't really talking. She was just smiling when she seen me. And I was just telling her I love her and sorry about the little arguments that we had, and things like that or whatnot. And she was like, oh, all is forgiven. It wasn't really no arguments. It was just disagreements that we used to have. But anyway, she was like, all is well. I don't hold that against you.
That is so touching, isn't it? I mean, it's obviously a little bit sad, but she got the ability to go and tell her mom any little argument we had along the way. I just want you to know, please forgive me. And her mom said, don't stress it. Don't worry about it. It's all is forgiven. That is a beautiful story. Listen, we're going to stop the story here. I want you to go visit Rita Walker's page and watch the rest of this beautiful video. I want you guys to live a long time, and I want your parents and your kids to live a long time too. Why don't we all start a tradition together? Go get your shoes. Let's go for a walk.
Good morning. Are those all your dogs? Well, that's awesome. Enjoy your walk. Got a little dog walk going there. That's kind of cool. Good morning, Venters. Hey, question. Is anyone like me where you sometimes see famous people and you know they've got plenty of money, plenty of reserves, right? But yet they don't necessarily do the right things. A lot of times famous people are in the media coverage for doing stuff that's not so good, right? Maybe they're getting pulled over for a DUI like Justin Timberlake. Maybe there's some scandal surrounding them like Puff Daddy, right? And maybe they just aren't the nicest person. And sometimes you can think to yourself, God, why are they so that way, right? Why are they so that way when they've got all these people that adore them, when they've got all this money at their disposal? Why do famous people a lot of times choose to do the downright wrong thing in life? I don't know if you guys contemplate that, but I ask myself that question all the time, because I'd like to think that if I were in their situation, I would be doing things completely different. But with that being said, I'm going to share a really neat story with you of how somebody out there that is famous is doing something truly wonderful, and I hope the whole world finds out about it. And if you don't know about it, you're going to know about it here in a second. Country music star Brad Paisley and his wife Kimberly have founded a place called The Store in Nashville, Tennessee. This store ensures, or I should say the store, ensures dignity and respect by providing free groceries to over 400 families in need and growing. The store provides free groceries. It was opened March 12th of 2020, just before COVID and just before a real devastating tornado that affected Nashville, Tennessee. So, since the store was kind of unable to have people come in person due to the pandemic and due to the nature of this tornado, they decided to offer curbside pickup and delivery. Now keep in mind, this is a free store, okay? The store also, in addition to offering free food, offers cooking classes, healthy options including meat, vegetables, and dairy, right? They also offer, in addition to cooking classes, guys, they offer counseling services for families, budgeting classes, right, to help people get on their feet and stay on their feet and start to acquire savings, right, which is good. They also offer cooking classes and more. And here's the best part of all. Brad and Kim Paisley are planning on expanding to a second store here pretty quick in the near future. And so the reason I wanted to share that story with you is, quite frankly, I'm so used to hearing bad things in the news. And whenever we hear a story like this, where you actually know it is impacting families in a completely positive way, and through budgeting classes and cooking classes, you also set the stage where going forward, it can have a lasting legacy effect. How cool is that? And wouldn't it be great in the future if instead of 2 stores, maybe he started having multiple stores in different areas of the country? You know, I've been told there's a lot of food deserts out there, and there's a lot of book deserts. Remember, we heard the story of the gal in Maryland who started offering little mobile book library services, right? And all of a sudden we have these areas around the country where maybe they have plenty of books, but they might not have very good options when it comes to eating, right? So when Brad and Kim Paisley open up these stores, it just kind of opens up your heart and lets you know, hey, there are some legit good people out there. And remember, a lot of times the way we view life is based on the information that we put inside of our heads. So if you're constantly watching the national news, which tends to be a little doom and gloom, you're probably going to start waking up on the wrong side of the bed. But if you can fill your heads with stories of hope and inspiration, right? Maybe you can start thinking better. Maybe that's the problem with our mind. What if the world is just an extension of our collective consciousness? And what if when the world is going bad, wouldn't that be crazy if you found out it's simply because inside of our brains and inside of our heads, we have a lot of bad negative thoughts? Now, I know that sounds crazy, right? That the world isn't really connected to our thoughts. But what I'm asking you to ponder is, what if that's not true, and what if it actually does? What if the way we as a collective organism of human beings, right? What if every time we think negative, what if it actually has a negative effect on the outside world? And conversely, what if we think positive, uplifting thoughts, not just as individuals, but as a whole group, a whole community? Does that actually have a positive effect on the world? I think it might. And if it does, we owe it to ourselves to fill our brains with positivity and fill our hearts with joy. And that's one of the things I naturally get from a walk. Hey, there's that segue, right? So when you're walking, you tend to wake up in the morning and get into the proper right state of mind each and every day. You know, this show kind of proves it. We have about a dozen people that are loud and talk constantly, right? And we probably have another 24 people that are more silent, that only talk once in a blue moon. But they all say the same thing. Hey, I'm watching your show every morning. I start my day like this. There is no better way to start your day than with something positive. But Chechi, sometimes you talk about negative stories. Sometimes, because they're interesting, right, Bob? But the point is every now and then we have to hear about the negatives, right? Because we can't just bury our head in the sand. But we should never forget that there are positive, uplifting stories. And our friends at the Good News Network, guys, share nothing but wonderful, positive stories. So I will link this Brad Paisley story in our show description. And I urge you guys, if you're feeling a little down, go to the Good News Network, read a handful of stories, and if you see one that's really good, let me know about it. And what I'll try to do is I'll try to go ahead and share it with everybody. We got some people here with their dogs and they're playing, going crazy. God, sometimes dogs are so fun-loving. Put a smile right on your face. Look at here, we got two of our neighbors playing with their dogs. Their dogs look happy as all heck. Look at them go. Sometimes dogs are a little bit excited. But again, that's good for your heart. Get your heartbeat going. If you're having trouble getting out of your house walking, buy a dog. Dogs will walk with you every day. God, that's kind of crazy if you think about it. Because dogs are made in such a way where they have endless energy, you could literally go on a 15-mile walk with your dog, and your dog is just as happy at the 15th mile as he would be at the first. If any of you guys are contemplating getting a dog or a cat or a pet of some sort, do it. And although cats don't really walk with people, they still have a tendency to uplift your spirits. I don't know if they've done any research on this. Maybe I'll look into it, but I wonder if people that consistently own animals and pets, guys, I wonder if they outlive those of us that don't own them. And I don't own one currently, but I'm not against it. I love pets, right? So in the future, I'm sure at some point or another, I will own a pet again. The one thing that saddens me about dogs is I wish some way, somehow, they lived a little bit closer to 30 years than 10 or 15, you know what I mean? Because it seems like every time dogs become a good part of your family, before you know it, the 10, 15 years have run out. But again, that's probably not a good reason not to have a pet. Sometimes we have to experience loss. And, based on faith, maybe we'll be able to be reunited with all of those pets that we loved in the past. Wouldn't that be cool, guys? Even if you're a non-believer, wouldn't it be cool if you took your final breath and then you opened your eyes and somehow you're in this new world, we'll call it heaven, and all of a sudden you look around and there's Twinkle Little Star, your first ever beagle, and there's Hershey, your favorite little mini poodle. And of course in heaven you don't want to admit to the other animals that Hershey was your favorite, right? So you got to be real careful with those things, right? We don't want people to think they're second best in heaven of all places, right? But yeah, that would be a real dream come true, wouldn't it? You open your eyes, you get to see each and every one of your family members and friends that we've lost. And then you look down beneath their waist and you see all these puppies and kittens and animals that you had through the years. God, that would just be beautiful. It really would. Does that happen when we die? I think so. I believe so. Now I know the non-believers are rolling their heads saying, oh my God, there's Jesse talking about that fake friend he has up in the sky again. Well, I don't think that friend is fake. I think that friend is the real deal. Anyway, I want you guys to have a beautiful day. It is Thursday where you guys are at, which means it is Venter's Hump Day. Why is it Venter's Hump Day, Jesse? Well, Bob, if you think about it, I'm trying to urge people to walk each and every day. We don't work on a 5-day week, we work on a 7-day week. Therefore, Wednesday is not it's not Venter's Hump Day. It's probably not Humper's Hump Day either. That's probably on the weekend. But Venter's Hump Day is Thursday. If you refer to Thursday as Friday Eve as well, that's because somewhere in your brain you equate Thursday to a good day. That's a good thing. The tough days of the week are Monday and Tuesday. But again, if you start losing weight and you start waking up every day with a walk and you start smiling and getting more positive things to happen to your life, you want to know something? Pretty soon Mondays aren't that bad. And if you go to work on Monday and you decide that, hey, we're going to have a good week and I'm going to take Becky out to lunch, right? And you start to do things that aren't just centered around yourself, but when you start to think about others, start to build relationships with people, man, I think that can have a real positive effect on you. I have some coworkers from previous jobs where I still call them every once in a blue moon, and I'm able to shoot the shit with them for 20, 30 minutes at a time. And the reason I have those relationships is because when I was working in the office with them, I developed those relationships. I said, hey, let's go to Taco Bell together. This is when I was eating like crap, right? Hey, let's go watch this movie together. Hey, did you see what happened on the news last night? Be one of those people that when people come to work, you uplift them. That way Mondays aren't so horrible for them. Make every day feel like a Friday. How do we do that, Jesse? By having a smile in your voice. If you notice that you constantly growl at people, work on that. And by the way, I constantly growl at people. Not me constantly, but I occasionally growl at people, excuse me. And when you occasionally growl at people, sometimes you catch yourself and say, golly, I'm always in a bad mood. Don't be that person that's always in a bad mood. Take walks, get yourself in a good headspace, stay positive, and the more you do, it's kind of like a muscle. You'll develop muscle memory. That's why I love walking. There's so many negative things in this world, but walking helps you shake those things off. It helps you keep things in perspective. For every person that's Dale and Karen and they get you down, there's a bunch of people that are uplifting. You just got to associate with them. Good morning, buddy. How are you? Good, good.
Yep.
Have a good walk.
Likewise.
So that's the gentleman that asked me what the name of our show was the other day. Did he end up going and signing up and becoming a viewer of subscriber, excuse me. I'm a little tired. I just woke up. Which, by the way, that's another advantage I have with my walk. Do you realize that almost all of us wake up half asleep, right? If you're half asleep, there's two things you can do about it. You can wait till lunch when you finally wake up from your stupor, or you can go on a walk and you can start to wake up quickly. So I'm about halfway through with my walk. I'm still a little sleepy, but you know what? In another 5 or 10 minutes, we'll be finishing up this walk because it goes that quickly, right? And before you know it, it'll be like I had 2 cups of coffee because I'm going to be completely awake. By the way, if any of you guys are starting to cut down on coffee, or maybe you've eliminated it completely, or maybe you've just eliminated the sugar from it, let me know down below. And if any of you are like me and do not drink coffee, but enjoy a morning walk first thing in the morning, let me know if it has that same effect on you that it does on me, the effect of being able to wake up pretty quickly. By the time I start my shift, I am completely awake, completely aware, completely ready to tackle my day. And therefore, when I start, I feel like I have a little advantage over the old me that maybe didn't. But, here's a little tidbit. Considering I always walk, I'm almost never half asleep when I start my shift, And some of us are just natural early risers. If you wake up at 4 or 5 in the morning, you're probably going to be a little bit more successful than if you woke up at 9 or 10 in the morning. people that wake up at 4 in the morning, we look at them and we think, oh my goodness, they're crazy. Why don't they sleep in a little bit? Well, by waking up at 4 in the morning, when 7 or 8 in the morning rolls around and you're just waking up, they're already halfway through tackling the problems of their day. As a matter of fact, there's a video that I watched that kind of changed my life that I think you guys should watch too. It's on YouTube. And there's multiple videos, but it was basically how people that are super successful wake up at 4 a.m. And the reason they do this is because by 6 and 7, when they're normally just starting their day, they've already conquered all of the emails they have to reply to, all of the things they need to put on their schedule. They're able to go in there at 4 in the morning and put those things on their schedule. And they're able to really take advantage of organizational skills that come by being awake that early in the morning. Guess how many people call you at 4 in the morning? 0. So you don't have to worry about any distractions. So if you're sitting there fighting the clock, trying to stay up at midnight or 1 in the morning, don't do that. Go to bed at a decent hour. See if you can start going to bed at 10, 10:30, 11, so that you naturally wake up 6 hours later when it's 4:30 or 5, and start taking advantage of that day a little bit quicker. You know, Stacy is a venter. Stacy is our venter that has conquered cancer, right? Go Stacy. She wakes up at 3 in the morning to walk this neighborhood. Now, I'm not a big fan of walking at 3 in the morning because the people that are out and about at that time aren't necessarily the most savory of characters. But if it's a relatively safe neighborhood and you want to wake up at 4 and get to walking at 5 when the sun first comes up, heck, I think that's a wonderful idea. Now, some of you guys where you live and it gets super cold in the winter, that might not be very feasible to be walking around at 4 or 5 in the morning, but you know, do what you got to do, plan accordingly. But guys, I'm telling you, when you fill your brain with positive stories, when you start to walk and you feel the uplifting, that's what makes it possible to have a YouTube channel where people are willing to converse and come every single day and walk every single day. It's not because you're talking them into it. At least I hope I'm not talking you guys into it. I think what it is I think you guys have tried walking and you've started to realize, holy crap, this is that vehicle that I needed. This is that vehicle that I've been praying for. You know, remember, sometimes our prayers are answered in real weird, bizarre ways. You know, but if you end up walking and loving it, and then you look at the scale at Christmas time, and normally you're trying not to gain 5 or 6 pounds, and you realize, oh my gosh, I've lost 15 pounds in the last 2, 3, 4 months. That's going to be a real fun Christmas gift to give yourselves. And then you can start in New Year's and you can make a resolution like going to the gym more often. And instead of being a resolution that you're going to fail on and quit on, you can actually baby step your way perfectly into it. You know what's a great way to start a gym routine? Walking on that treadmill. Why? Because you're already walking outside. So even before you ever step foot in your first gym, right, for your gym membership, you already know I can go on that treadmill for hours at a time. So imagine you're in there and you're on the treadmill. You walk for 45 minutes to an hour. And then after that, you decide, hey, I'm going to go lift some dumbbells and work on my arms. Or I'm going to go work on these other little machines in here and work on different body parts and different areas of my body where I want to get stronger or more fit. And all of a sudden, you're going to be one of these people that is a successful gym member. Remember, many, many people open up a gym membership, spend their monthly fee for that gym membership, and never go. And by the way, if you're retired and you have a Medicare plan, check that Medicare plan because it might cover a free gym membership. A lot of people don't know what their plan totally covers because every plan comes with a secret handshake, of course, and most people don't necessarily teach themselves how to go over all the advantages of the plans. But if you do, you'll find that many of those plans have like a silver senior type of situation where they'll actually cover your gym membership. Anything where you can go take a swimming class with fellow seniors in your age group that feel the exact same way that you do, like they need to exercise more, those are the people that you want to yoke up with. Those are the people that you want to have as friends. Now, does that mean you replace your old friends that don't diet and don't exercise? No, it means you add two. I'm sure we can all agree that if you have one great friend, you're lucky, right? But if you can have multiple good friends, hey, you're pretty lucky too. And I don't know about you, but we can always have an endless amount of good people in our life. It's the bad people we want to limit, right? So again, if you're walking with me, stay positive. Try to think about positive things. Try not to let yourself be a victim of being a Debbie Downer and hearing all these negative things. We're at that part of the year where everything gets political, where one group of people starts to talk poop about another and vice versa. Don't let yourself get into that. You know as well as I do, more than likely, whoever you want to be president, it's not really up to you, it's up to the country, right? So go with the flow. The best way to change the world is not who's president. The best way to change the world is the person in the mirror, okay? So while we may want our favorite candidate to win, the important thing is that we set ourselves up to a positive journey for the rest of our lives. You know, I'm telling you, you can't really blame your life usually on who's the president. Usually your life and everything that you can blame, whether it be positive or negative, is based on the man in the mirror. So again, don't let these outside forces change who you are. Don't let them steal your sunshine. You know, whoever's president, we know one thing for sure, half the country's going to be depressed the next day because we live in this polarized country where half the people want one candidate, half the people want the other. So what do we do when our candidate loses? Do we just say, oh, Jesus, our life is going to suck for the next 4 years? Or do we still move on in a positive light? I think we ought to move on in a positive light regardless. And if you feel the same way, let me know down below. You know, sometimes our life, even though the person in the presidency, right, isn't necessarily who we wanted, sometimes when we reflect and look back, we say, hey, those 4 or 8 years that president was, you know, leading our country, even though I didn't like him, right, we might find out that those were the best years of our life. So again, your life is not always tied to who's the president or how the world is going outside. It's really based on how things are going within. So again, I'm just a firm believer that if you stay positive, start doing things that are worthwhile in life, find friends that feel the same way you do about their health and stuff, you're going to find out that life is getting better and better every day. And by the way, the one thing I've noticed is, since I've been walking with you guys, my life is getting better. Because before I walked with you guys, I would close my mouth and try to do nose breathing, and I still recommend you guys do that. If you're out and about walking, see if you can breathe in and out of your nose. It has a real relaxing aspect to it. I'm not doing that as much because I'm constantly babbling, right, and talking to you guys. But I found that by talking out loud, it has a different effect on my brain. I'm able to hear my words, and if they have a positive outcome on you, believe it or not, my words have a positive outcome on me. Sometimes at the end of the night, when I'm editing till midnight or 1 in the morning, sometimes those words that I say actually go into my ears, right? Because I'm sitting there forwarding and rewinding footage and doing cuts and doing edits, and I'll hear myself say something, and I'll be like, you know what, that doesn't sound like half bad advice. You know, sometimes I take my own advice now. And so what I try to do is I try to be more and more positive. And I got to tell you, over this last 5 months or so, God, I don't think I've been as positive about the future and as uplifted as I've been. I don't think I've been like this in a long, long time. Perhaps maybe never. You know? Because before I was looking up things on the Good News Network, which I had never done before, I was filling my mind with this same negative gobbledygook that we all hear every single day. As a matter of fact, I think more YouTubers should take advantage of the Good News Network. Go find something positive to talk about. If you have a YouTube channel, go take a look at the Good News Network. There might be a story that goes perfectly with your channel. You know, if your channel's about family and stuff, what better family story than the one I shared today about the store in Nashville where families can go there and learn how to budget together, learn how to cook together, learn how to shop and eat well. You know, the key to eating is not having money in your pocket so you can go to Taco Bell. It's having the smarts in your brain so you can go to the grocery store and make yourself a meal. And you want to know what, moms and dads? If you can take your kids into the kitchen with you, show them how to make mom's famous tacos. Show them how to make grandma's favorite spaghetti recipe. Show them how to cook ribs out on the grill, right? With dad's secret recipe for ribs, right? Show them these things and you create a legacy. And hopefully you create a tradition. That's why I always urge you guys, if you have kids or grandkids, see if your kids or grandkids want to walk with grandma around the park. You could actually create a walking tradition. And then 30 or 40 years from now, when you're long gone, maybe your grandkids will be walking with their grandkids, your great-great-grandkids that you never get to meet because you're gone. Wouldn't that be kind of cool to know that you're creating a legacy like that? I think that would be awesome. You know, for as much as I love walking, I'm the only one in my family that really does it religiously. You know, I wish I could force people to walk because then they would know what I do. But since we can't force them, all we can do is tell people constantly about the good, positive virtues that come from it. So again, if you're walking, you're doing something really positive. If you're brand new to walking, you might be sitting there sweating in the sun thinking, this sucks. Don't think like that. It's going to take a little while to get used to it. Walking is like smoking cigarettes. The first time a person smokes a cigarette, they think, ooh, this is gross. But if they keep sticking with it and practicing with smoking cigarettes, before you know it, you fully love it 3 or 4 weeks later. Well, we don't want you smoking cigarettes. We want you to walk, right? So if you walk 2 or 3 weeks later, you're no longer going to hate it, you're going to love it. And that was a joke, by the way. Don't start smoking cigarettes. And no, I don't smoke cigarettes. The main thing is the fact that almost anything can become habit forming and can become a part of our daily lives. So what I urge you to do is make today that first day where you actually put your shoes on and go for a walk. Take a look at your neighbors' homes. If you see your neighbors out and about, say good morning, say hi. You're going to have a wonderful day today. And each day going forward, things are going to start to get better and better. You're going to start to lose weight, and you're going to start to wonder and realize, man, I should have been doing this forever. I should have been doing this a long time. Why wasn't I? Well, who cares about the past? We live in the now, and going forward, we're going to be walking together every single day, and we're going to keep having more and more positive, good days together. And whenever you have something good happens to you, tell us in the comments. And then if other people see those comments, maybe they can share what's going on in their lives that are good and positive, and we can do this together. Have a wonderful day, Venters. Keep going.